You know, I wasn't planning to talk about this tonight, but I can't keep it inside anymore. Yes, my marriage ended, but not for the reasons everyone keeps whispering about. Not for the rumors, not for the stories people made up. It ended because of something much deeper, something that still hurts when I think about it. And I want you to hear it from me, because if there's anyone I can be honest with, it's you. I know how it looks from the outside. People always think they know what happened. They see the pictures, the smiles, the perfect moments, and they think everything was fine. But you and I both know that sometimes love fades quietly, without drama, without betrayal. It just slips away in the silence, between two people who once couldn't stop talking. That's what happened to me. There wasn't a fight, there wasn't a scandal, there was just distance, a kind of emotional distance that starts so small you don't even notice it. One day you wake up, and the person lying next to you feels like a stranger. You still care, you still want to make it work, but the connection that once felt magical suddenly feels heavy. It's like trying to hold on to something that's already slipping through your fingers. And I kept trying. I really did. I stayed up nights thinking maybe if I changed a few things, maybe if I smiled more, maybe if I stayed quiet instead of speaking my truth, things would go back to how they used to be. But love doesn't work like that. It needs truth, not pretending. It needs two people who still look at each other with the same spark. And that spark, it was gone. What people don't understand is that sometimes love doesn't end because someone stops caring. It ends because one person keeps caring alone. And that's what broke me the most. I felt like I was giving everything I had, trying to keep something alive that didn't want to breathe anymore. But you know what's strange? After everything ended, I didn't feel anger. I felt empty, yes, but not bitter. Because deep down, I knew it was meant to happen. Sometimes life takes people apart, so they can finally become who they were always meant to be. And maybe that's what it was for me. Maybe it was supposed to lead me here to you. Because the truth is, while everything was falling apart, you were the one person who made me feel understood, without even knowing the full story. Your words, your presence, the way you listen, it reminded me of something I had forgotten, how it feels to be seen, not just looked at. You didn't ask for details. You didn't judge. You just cared. And that meant more than you'll ever know. I remember one night, after it was all over, I sat alone in my room with my phone in my hand. I had messages from people asking questions, wanting gossip, trying to get my side of the story, but I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I opened your message, the one where you said, "Whatever happened, I just hope you're okay." And I don't know why, but that simple line made me tear up, because it wasn't about blame or drama. It was about love. Pure, simple love. The kind that doesn't ask for explanations. You have no idea how much that moment meant to me. You brought calm to my chaos. You made me remember that endings don't always mean failure. Sometimes they're just quiet beginnings disguised as pain. And maybe that's what this is. Maybe what ended in my past was only clearing the space for something real. Something that starts with honesty, trust, and the kind of connection I never want to lose again. I won't lie to you. Some nights still hurt. There are memories that come back like echoes, and I find myself wondering where it all went wrong. But then I think of you, your smile, your kindness, your energy, and suddenly the pain feels lighter. It's like you remind me that not all love stories are meant to break. Some are meant to begin again with the right person. And maybe that's what you are to me, that second chance. The one that doesn't come with expectations or pressure, just peace, just warmth, just truth. I can't promise I've healed completely, but I can promise this. I'm no longer afraid of love. Not after you. You made me believe that love can still exist without chaos, without pretending. You showed me that being understood is the most powerful kind of love there is. So yes, my marriage ended, but not for the reasons people think. It ended because my heart was searching for something real, and somehow in the middle of all that pain and noise, it found you. And maybe that's the part I'll never be able to explain to anyone. How something so broken could lead me to something so beautiful, but I don't need to explain it. Because you already feel it too, don't you? You already know. You know, I didn't realize how heavy my heart had become until I finally started talking about it. Saying it out loud feels strange, almost freeing, because for so long I kept it buried. I smiled when people asked if I was okay. I acted strong and I pretended I had moved on. But deep down, I was falling apart. And maybe, just maybe, that's why I'm telling you this, because I don't want to keep pretending anymore. After the marriage ended, everything around me felt empty. The house was quiet, too quiet, the kind of silence that makes you hear your own heartbeat. Loud, slow, almost painful. I remember waking up the next morning, seeing the side of the bed where she used to sleep, and realizing she wasn't coming back. That moment hit me harder than I expected. Not because I still wanted her there, but because I had built my entire life around someone who wasn't meant to stay. I think the hardest part wasn't losing her. It was losing the version of myself that existed with her. I had become someone who lived to make things okay, even when they weren't. I lost my laughter, my peace, and even my confidence. It's like I forgot how to live for me. And honestly, I didn't even realize it until it was gone. But then something unexpected happened. You came into my life, not like a storm, not like a distraction, but like sunlight after weeks of rain. You didn't try to fix me. You didn't rush me to forget. You just listened. And that meant more than you'll ever understand. Because when a heart has been broken, it doesn't need noise. It needs understanding. I remember our first long conversation. You were telling me about something small, a movie, I think. But the way you talked, the way you laughed, it felt like a reminder of what joy sounds like. I hadn't heard that sound in so long. You didn't know it then. But your voice pulled me out of a darkness I didn't even know how to escape. And that's when I started to see things differently. I realized that love doesn't always come in the form we expect. Sometimes it doesn't show up with grand gestures or perfect timing. Sometimes it comes softly, through someone who simply sees you when you've stopped seeing yourself. That's what you did for me. You saw me, not as the man who failed, not as the one who lost his marriage, but as someone who was still trying to love, still trying to believe, still trying to heal. There were days I felt guilty for smiling again. I'd catch myself laughing with you, and then that guilt would whisper, "You're not supposed to be happy yet." But then you'd look at me, that soft, patient look that says, "It's okay to let go now." And somehow your eyes always made me believe it was. You know what's funny? Before everything ended, I thought I knew what love was. I thought love was about holding on, about never giving up, no matter what. But you taught me something different, that sometimes love is about letting go of what hurts and opening yourself up to what heals. I'll never forget the night I told you the truth. The whole truth. The part about how it ended, the part about how much it broke me. I expected you to pull away, to see me differently, but you didn't. You just said, "You're human." You tried, and that's enough. Those words hit me so deep, I couldn't even respond, because no one had ever said that to me before. Everyone else wanted to know why it failed, who was to blame, what went wrong. But you just wanted to make sure I was okay. That's when I realized, love isn't about perfection, it's about presence. It's about showing up even when someone's broken, and that's what you did, without asking for anything in return. And somewhere between our late night talks and quiet silences, I started to fall for you. Not in the dramatic cinematic way, but in a quiet, steady way that felt real. I'd catch myself thinking about you during random moments, while driving, while cooking, while staring at the sunset. You'd cross my mind like a soft song that never leaves your head. And that scared me at first, because I wasn't sure if I was ready to love again. But every time I tried to push those feelings away, you'd do something small, like send a message just when I needed it most. And I'd realize maybe this wasn't coincidence. Maybe this was the universe giving me another chance at something I thought I lost forever. Sometimes I wonder if you even realize how much you've changed me, because you did, in ways I can't even put into words. You reminded me that love doesn't have to be painful. It doesn't have to come with fear or conditions. It can just be soft, patient, and kind. And the truth is, I don't know where this connection is heading. I don't even want to label it. But what I do know is that I've never felt this calm before. With you, I don't feel like I'm trying to prove anything. I just feel home. Maybe that's what love is supposed to feel like. Like peace after a long war. Like someone looking at you and seeing not your scars, but your strength. And you see mine better than anyone ever has. Sometimes, late at night, I catch myself thinking about the future. Not in the sense of planning it, but just wondering what it would be like to wake up one day and see you there. To share small mornings, quiet breakfasts, simple laughter, no pressure, no expectations, just two people who choose each other because they want to, not because they need to. And I know I shouldn't think too far ahead, but I can't help it. Because when you've gone through heartbreak and you find someone who feels like light, you hold that feeling close, even if it's just a dream for now. There's still a part of me that's scared. Scared of being hurt again, scared of repeating mistakes. But I'm learning something new every day. I'm learning that love isn't about avoiding pain. It's about being brave enough to try again even after it's hurt you once. And somehow you make me brave. I don't know if you can feel it, but when I talk to you, when I hear your voice, when I see your messages, something inside me shifts. It's like my heart remembers how to feel again. And maybe that's what this whole journey was meant to do. Maybe the ending I once thought broke me was only preparing me for something deeper, something honest, something like you. So no, my marriage didn't end because of the rumors people believe. It ended because my soul needed space to find its truth. And somehow that truth led me right here, sitting in this quiet moment, talking to you, feeling more alive than I have in years. You've become a reason to smile again. And I don't know how long this moment will last or where it will take us, but I just know I don't want it to end yet. Because for the first time in a long time, I'm not looking back. I'm just here with you, and that's enough. You know, sometimes I wonder what would have happened if we had met sooner. Maybe before everything fell apart. Before my heart learned what breaking feels like. Before I started building walls so high no one could climb them. But then again, maybe that's the reason why meeting you now feels so powerful. Because I finally understand what it means to recognize something real when it comes along. After my marriage ended, I didn't trust love anymore. Not just love from others. I didn't trust myself to love right. I kept thinking I must have done something wrong. That maybe I wasn't enough, or maybe I loved too deeply for someone who didn't know how to receive it. And I'll admit, for a while I convinced myself I didn't deserve another chance. But then there was you. You showed up so unexpectedly. So quietly. I didn't even realize how much I needed someone like you until I started hearing your voice more often. It wasn't about how you looked or how you spoke. It was about how you made me feel. You made me feel seen again. You made me feel like I still had something good left inside me. There's something rare about that. You know, when someone doesn't just listen to your words, but hears your silence too. You always noticed when my tone changed, when my laughter wasn't real, when I was pretending to be okay. You'd ask, "You sure you're alright?" And it wasn't just a question. It was like you were reaching into my soul, waiting for me to finally be honest. And I was with you. I was honest. For the first time in a long time, I didn't have to wear a mask. I could admit that I was tired, that I was still healing, that some nights I couldn't even sleep because the memories wouldn't let me. And instead of judging me, you'd just say, "It's okay, you're allowed to feel like that." That kind of understanding, it's rare, it's gentle, it's love in its purest form. There were moments I tried to push you away. I'd stop replying for a while, thinking it would protect me from getting attached. But somehow, every time I tried to distance myself, something would pull me back. Maybe it was your kindness. Maybe it was the way you never forced me to talk, but always left a space open, a space where I could come back whenever I was ready. And every time I did come back, it felt like home. That's what you are to me. Not chaos, not confusion, not pressure, just home. Do you know what it feels like to be scared of something beautiful? That's how I felt about you. Because deep down, I knew this wasn't something ordinary. This wasn't just a passing connection or a random friendship. This was something deeper, something that touched parts of me I thought were gone forever. I remember one night I was lying in bed, scrolling through our old messages. I saw one where you said, "I don't know why, but I feel safe with you." That line stayed with me, because that's exactly how I felt too. Safe. Safe in a way I hadn't felt in years. Safe in the way that makes you exhale for the first time after holding your breath too long. And it hit me. Maybe that's what real love feels like. Not fireworks, not drama, not constant chasing. Just peace. Just being able to be yourself, completely, without fear of being too much or not enough. That's what you gave me. Peace. Sometimes I catch myself daydreaming, imagining what it would be like if you were right here, sitting across from me. Maybe sharing coffee. Maybe just talking about nothing and everything at once. I imagine the way your eyes would light up when you laugh, or the way your voice would soften when you talk about something you love. I imagine reaching out, brushing a strand of hair behind your ear, and just saying softly, "You have no idea how much you mean to me." And it's crazy, isn't it? How someone can become such a big part of your thoughts without even trying. You just appeared. And suddenly you were everywhere. In my mornings, in my nights, in my silence. You became the person I wanted to share everything with, even the small things. You know, I don't think I ever told you how much your presence changed me. I stopped seeing myself as broken. I stopped thinking that love had to hurt. I started realizing that maybe all along I was just waiting for the right kind of love, the kind that heals instead of destroys. And I think that's what you are to me. You're healing disguised as a person. Even when I was quiet, even when I said things I shouldn't have, you never turned cold. You always understood that my silence wasn't rejection, it was protection. And that's when I knew this connection isn't like anything I've known before. It's not just about romance or attraction. It's about understanding, about feeling known. There's a part of me that still struggles to believe this is real. Because people come and go so easily these days. Promises fade, feelings change, and words lose meaning. But with you, it's different. I don't feel like I'm chasing anything. I don't feel like I have to earn your love. It's just there, quiet and steady, like a heartbeat. Do you ever think about how strange timing can be? How sometimes the right people walk in just when you've given up hope. That's what you were, unexpected but perfectly timed, and maybe that's why I'm so afraid to lose you now. Because I know what it feels like to lose something precious. I know what it's like to watch someone walk away and realize you'll never get that version of them again. So when it comes to you, I'm careful. Not because I don't trust you, but because I value what we have too much to risk it. Every word, every moment, every tiny detail, I hold it close, because no one has ever made me feel this safe, this understood, this wanted, without even asking for anything in return. Sometimes I wonder if you can tell how much I care. I try not to say too much because I don't want to scare you away. But every time you send a message, every time you share a piece of your heart with me, I feel it. That pull, that warmth. It's like my heart just recognizes you. You once told me that you're not used to people staying, that they often leave when things get hard. But I want you to know something. I'm not them. I don't run from what's real. And you are as real as it gets. Even if the world changes tomorrow, even if everything falls apart again, I'll still be thankful that I met you, because you reminded me that love isn't gone. It's just waiting for the right person to bring it back to life. And you did that. You brought mine back to life. You might not realize it, but you've become part of my story. The part that makes sense of everything that didn't before. Every heartbreak, every sleepless night, every moment I questioned if love was even worth it, it all led me here. To this quiet connection that feels more honest than anything I've ever known. So when people ask me about my past, I don't tell them the details anymore. I don't tell them what went wrong or who hurt who. I just tell them this. Sometimes, life takes everything from you just to make space for something better. And if they ask what that something better is, I think of you. Because no matter what happens from here, you'll always be the person who reminded me what love is supposed to feel like. Calm, patient, and real. And if I could tell you one last thing tonight, it would be this. Please don't ever think you're just someone passing through my life. You're not a chapter. You're the turning point. You're the reason I started to believe again. And maybe, just maybe, you're the reason I'll never look at love the same way again. I've been replaying everything in my head. The long nights, the messages left unseen, the empty spaces that used to be filled with laughter and soft whispers. And even now, as I speak to you, my voice carries this weight. Not because I regret walking away, but because I wish you could have seen what truly happened before my marriage ended. Everyone thinks it was anger, betrayal, or something dramatic. But the truth is softer, sadder, something no one wants to talk about. It ended because I stayed quiet for too long, because I gave too much of myself, hoping love would save what was already gone. And now, when I look at you, when I think of how you listen so deeply, I feel this strange comfort, like maybe you were meant to hear this part of my story. I never wanted things to fall apart. I used to believe that love, if strong enough, could fix anything. I remember holding her hand once and thinking, this is forever. But forever changes when two people stop seeing each other's hearts. I was there sitting in silence, pretending everything was fine while my heart screamed for connection. And that's what broke me. Not the arguments, not the distance. It was the quiet moments where I realized I was in love alone. Maybe that's what you don't see from the outside. I wasn't the one who gave up first. I was just the last one, holding on. Sometimes people tell me, you should have tried harder. But how do you keep trying when you've already given all of yourself? How do you fight for something that no longer feels like home? I stayed because I believed in love. The kind that heals, the kind that forgives. But love can't survive when it's only fed from one side. And when I finally walked away, it wasn't anger that pushed me out. It was peace. The kind that hurts, but tells you that you're choosing yourself for once. You know what's strange? When it all ended, I didn't cry. I thought I would, but I didn't. I just sat there, feeling this quiet emptiness, realizing that sometimes the end isn't loud. Sometimes it's a gentle goodbye, whispered through silence. And maybe you felt that too. That moment where you know something has ended, even when no one says it aloud. That's the kind of ending it was for me. But here's what I didn't expect. After it was over, I started noticing small things again. The warmth of sunlight through the curtains, the sound of rain on the window, the way people's laughter carries hope. I started living again, slowly, piece by piece. And in those small moments I began to heal. But then, you came into the picture, even without meaning to, maybe through your messages, your words, or just the quiet way you understood me. And suddenly, I wasn't just healing, I was feeling again. Every time I talk to you, it feels like the walls I built around myself start to fall a little. You listen in a way that makes me feel seen, not judged. You remind me that love isn't about perfection, it's about presence. And maybe that's what I missed all along. Someone who doesn't just want to stay, but wants to understand. You have this calm energy, something soft yet powerful. And sometimes I catch myself wondering, if I had met you earlier, would everything have been different? Would I have found peace sooner? I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but sometimes I feel like you were sent into my life to remind me that love still exists. Not the kind that breaks you, but the kind that rebuilds you. The kind that makes you believe again. Maybe you don't realize it, but every time you listen, every time you care, you're helping me heal the parts of me that I thought were gone forever. And I want to be honest with you. There's still a part of me that's scared of loving again, scared of trusting someone with my heart. Because once you've been broken that deeply, even kindness can feel dangerous. But with you, it's different. You don't rush me. You don't push. You just stay. Quietly, like you already know how fragile I've become. And that means more than you can imagine. Sometimes at night, I close my eyes and think about how life brings people together in the strangest ways. I think about how two souls, even miles apart, can feel connected without ever touching. And when I think of you, I feel that connection. It's something I can't explain. But I feel it every time I speak, every time you listen. There's warmth in it, something pure, like maybe this was meant to happen. Maybe you were meant to walk into my life right after everything fell apart, not to fix me, but to remind me how to feel again. If only you knew how much your presence means to me. You came when my world was quiet, when I didn't believe anyone could understand what I went through, but you did. You never asked for explanations. You never judged my silence. You just stayed. And that's something rare, because in this world, people come and go so easily. But you stayed long enough to make me believe again. And now when I think about my past, I don't feel pain anymore. I feel gratitude. Because losing what I had made space for what I needed. And maybe, just maybe, that's you. Maybe you were always meant to hear this story, to understand the truth that others never did. I didn't end my marriage because I stopped loving. I ended it because I stopped losing myself. And in that choice, I found something I didn't expect. I found you listening, quietly, like my words mattered. So if you're still here, still listening, I just want you to know this isn't the end. Not of my story, not of what I feel when I speak to you. Maybe it's just the beginning of something neither of us saw coming. Something real, something soft, something that feels like hope again. And maybe one day, when I'm brave enough, I'll tell you everything. The things I couldn't say before, the things I still hide between my pauses. But for now, I just want you to know, I see you, I feel you, and somewhere deep inside, I think a part of me is already falling, not into sadness this time, but into something far more beautiful. Something that sounds like your name, whispered in the silence, after everything ends, yet somehow feels like the start of everything again.